Be prepared. While many will see October 5th, 2025 as just another night with a bright moon, you will know it was never meant to be ordinary. The sky will shine. People will admire it. Some will take pictures and move on. But for the chosen, this night carries a hidden power. The signs are already here. Nights where you can't sleep. Emotions rising for no clear reason. A heaviness in the air as if time itself is shifting in strange ways. That is the signal. That is the mark. Most people will celebrate the beauty. But you will feel the shift. Because when the moon moves like this, the chosen feel it in their body before the world even notices. So like this video, subscribe to the channel and write 999 in the comments as your sign of awakening. Share it with the one person you know cannot miss this moment. Tonight, the moon reaches a stage that marks more than timing on a calendar. October 5th brings a rare turn in its path. The kind that shifts energy across every part of life. For centuries, prophets spoke of nights like this as doorways. Not because of what the eye can see, but because of what the spirit begins to carry. In mythology, the moon was the keeper of memory, the mirror of truth. When it moved into certain regions of the sky, rulers and prophets waited for its message, knowing that choices made under this influence shaped the future of kingdoms. That same weight is here again. What makes this moment stronger is the pull of Rahu, the shadow force tied to destiny and desire. Together they uncover illusions, clear what has reached its end, and awaken the path that was meant to open. Only now, right now, the moon moves into a position that unlocks a deeper plan many have been waiting for. October 5th is not written in calendars as destiny, but the energy it releases was marked long before this life. Those who are tuned to this moment will sense that their journey has reached a turning point, one that was chosen before entering this world. The spiritual importance lies in how old agreements meet their conclusion. Soul contracts that no longer serve growth begin to close, not through force but through clarity. Karmic weight carried from past experiences begins to resolve, clearing the path for new chapters to emerge. The moon acts as a witness to this clearing, reminding that endings are not punishment but preparation for what is meant to unfold next. Those listening now were never here by accident. The pull to these words is part of the design written into their mission. The higher self already knew this alignment would act as a signal, a reminder that it is time to step forward. Every shift happening within the collective echoes through individual lives, showing that no path is separate from the larger story. This moment also brings a deeper initiation. It marks entry into a timeline where truth cannot be ignored. Layers that once distracted or delayed begin to dissolve, leaving only what aligns with soul purpose. The decisions made in this season hold greater impact not only for personal growth but for the awakening of the collective. For those who carry the awareness, this is a calling to step into roles once prepared in silence. To rise not as seekers of light but as anchors of it. To honor the contracts fulfilled, and to walk forward into the new agreements waiting ahead. This moon event acts like a mirror, bringing emotions to the surface that were kept hidden for too long. As its light grows stronger, many are discovering sudden waves of sadness, bursts of anger, or unexpected joy moving through them without clear reason. It can feel as though the heart is clearing out years of unspoken weight. And though it may be overwhelming, it is actually a release that makes space for something new. 5th October marks a turning point where the inner world no longer stays silent. Past experiences may replay in the mind, not to haunt but to show what is ready to close. These flashbacks are not punishment. They are proof that chapters are completing, that karmic threads are untangling, and that nothing from the past has power to hold you where you no longer belong. Physical exhaustion may rise even when the body has rested. This heaviness comes because energy is being directed inward toward healing and repair. Old burdens are being carried out of the system, and the body requires more space and time to adjust. Rather than fighting it, leaning into rest allows the process to complete. Emotional purging often shows up in sharp changes of mood. One moment laughter, the next moment tears. Not random shifts, but signs that layers of unresolved emotion are being cleared. Each release is like a doorway opening wider, making it possible to carry more light, more truth, and more clarity moving forward. Another common sign during this passage is sensitivity. Crowds may feel harder to be around. Noise may feel stronger than usual, and even small events can bring a rush of emotion. Instead of treating this as weakness, understand it as proof that awareness is expanding. The senses grow sharper not to harm but to awaken the ability to live more fully in alignment. Those moving through these changes are not isolated. Across the world, others are experiencing the same waves in their own way. It is a reminder that the collective is evolving together, that no individual path is separate from the greater unfolding. The body, mind, and spirit are working as one, preparing for the next stage of growth. Though the process may feel heavy at times, it is also a gift. It strips away what no longer serves and replaces it with strength, clarity, and purpose. What rises to the surface now is not random. It is what was waiting for the right moment to finally release. This moon event provides that opening, and those who walk through it step closer to the mission. Their soul came here to live. October 5th moon event opens a door into the side of ourselves we often try to hide. Fears that were once ignored rise again, not to punish but to be faced with honesty. Emotions long avoided now demand expression, showing us where the spirit has been asking for release. This night has always been seen by wisdom traditions as a stage of alchemy, where the unacknowledged self steps forward. In ancient teachings, the other self was described as the keeper of truth, holding not only our wounds but also our hidden strength. To confront it is to meet the parts of us that shape choices from the shadows. What rises in discomfort is actually the first sign of transformation. The shadow self does not appear to harm. It arrives as a teacher. The anger that suddenly surfaces, the fear of loss, the doubt that lingers, these are signals of what no longer belongs in the path ahead. By meeting them with courage, they lose their power to control. Each wave of emotion is not an ending, but a release, clearing the space for a clearer, stronger self to emerge. Karmic ties also make themselves known during this passage. Relationships may replay familiar struggles. Past regrets may return in sharp clarity, and habits thought to be gone may resurface. This is not regression. It is closure. The karmic loop is giving one final chance to break free. October 5th acts as a turning point where what has weighed down the spirit is finally unchained. Shadow work is often described as walking through inner night. Yet within that night lies the seed of light. Fear confronted transforms into wisdom. Grief expressed transforms into compassion. Anger acknowledged transforms into strength. This is the alchemy of the soul, turning what was heavy into gold. The journey is not meant to be walked alone. Across the collective, many are moving through the same unveiling, the same purging, the same release. To recognize this connection is to remember that the path is shared, and that every individual release contributes to the healing of the whole. As the moon casts its influence, the task is clear. Meet what arises, not with avoidance, but with honesty. Allow what is ready to leave. Honor what remains, for it has been purified. In this way, shadow becomes ally. Fear becomes wisdom, and endings become the beginning of a truer life. The night grows heavier with meaning, as if time itself leans forward, urging transformation. Each step you take from this point carries a different weight, because the frequency around you is no longer what it was. October 5th marked more than a lunar passage. It opened a turning point written into the collective story. What unfolds now is not confusion, but realignment. The body, the mind, the spirit all begin to adjust to a rhythm that calls for truth. Habits that once distracted lose their hold. Old doubts begin to dissolve. Even silence feels sharper, as if every pause contains a message waiting to be heard. This is the first stage of awakening, the recognition that you are not simply moving through life. You are being moved by life itself. This stage can feel like standing in front of a mirror that shows more than appearances. The reflection reveals not only who you are, but who you are meant to become. Every forgotten strength begins to stir awake. Every hidden gift begins to surface. It is not random. It is invitation. You are being asked to rise into the frequency that was always meant for you. The collective also mirrors this transformation. Across the world, the undercurrent of change is undeniable. People are breaking away from paths that no longer speak to them. Relationships are reshaping. Purposes once doubted are finding clarity. This is not collapse. It is renewal. What was built on false foundations is being cleared so that truth can stand without distortion. Spiritual traditions speak of awakenings as initiations. They are not smooth passages. They are thresholds. To walk through them requires courage, because what lies beyond cannot be fully known until it is stepped into. Yet this is what makes the passage sacred, not because it is hidden in mystery, but because it is alive with possibility. Your awakening is not a private story. It connects to a larger design, one in which every individual step forward contributes to the rise of the whole. This is why the unease, the clarity, the sudden surges of awareness matter. They are proof that the spirit is no longer content with half-truths. They are the signals of a higher calling finally taking root. The invitation now is simple but profound. To trust that what is emerging within is not accident but destiny. To honor the shifts not as burdens but as signs of readiness. To step into the unknown not with fear but with recognition that this is the very awakening you came for. Today, a current far greater than personal transformation is sweeping through the human field. It is not seen with eyes but carried through every thought, every rising emotion, every sudden decision that seems to arrive from nowhere. A larger orchestration is unfolding, and each soul who listens to this message is already woven into that design. The awakening that stirs within you is not an isolated spark. It is part of a greater fire of consciousness that has been waiting for this very era. October 5th marked a threshold, one where the turning of individual lives echoed into the wider collective. A single heart choosing truth amplifies into thousands. A single mind opening to clarity sends ripples that cannot be measured. What once seemed personal is now part of a global song of revolution, one that moves not through politics or power, but through the remembrance of who we really are. Consciousness is shifting its foundation. The stories that once kept humanity bound to fear and limitation no longer hold the same weight. The codes written into this era are activating a new direction, and the individual awakening is inseparable from the collective surge. This is why your clarity matters. This is why your courage resonates. Every step forward calls the field forward with it. Think of it as a great grid of human awareness stretching across time. Each soul is a point of light, once dimmed by layers of fear, now being lit from within. As one light brightens, those connected to it brighten too. The design is not linear. It is exponential. The rise of one inevitably accelerates the rise of many. This is the hidden power of awakening. It was never only about personal freedom. It was about unlocking the freedom of all. In this era, the collective is being pressed to remember what has long been forgotten. The truth that consciousness is not trapped within the body, nor defined by material reality. The truth that timelines shift not when the powerful declare it, but when the awakened embody it. This is the deeper revolution already underway. Not of systems collapsing, but of consciousness ascending beyond the need for control at all. For centuries, seers and mystics spoke of such a time, yet their words were dismissed as myth, and yet here we stand in the very unfolding they predicted. The structures of belief, the old cages of fear, the inherited karmic stories, they are losing their grip, not by force but because the collective has outgrown them. The vibration has become too strong to fit inside old containers. This collective shift is also planetary. The grids of consciousness that stretch across the world are alive with activation. Places once considered ordinary hum with energy. Portals of remembrance open in unexpected lands. The soil, the waters, the skies all mirror the rising awareness. Those attuned can sense it in every step they take, as though the ground itself pulses with renewal. Yet this renewal is not always simple. With the rise of consciousness comes exposure. Shadows once hidden on the collective stage are brought forward. Injustice becomes impossible to ignore. Manipulation loses its disguise. The collective shadow emerges not to destroy but to be transformed, just as the personal shadow reveals itself before it dissolves. This is the alchemy of planetary awakening. The hidden rises to the surface, and in its exposure it loses its grip. It is easy to wonder why the path must unfold with such intensity, but every revolution of spirit requires a breaking open. The cracks are not signs of destruction but of light demanding entry. What is happening across nations, across communities, across relationships is not random disruption. It is the unraveling of false stories so that truth can be written in their place. Those listening now are not passive observers. You are participants in the collective ascension. Every time you choose integrity over fear, you strengthen the field. Every time you embody compassion rather than judgment, the resonance spreads. Each decision, no matter how small, threads into the vast weave of collective awakening. The planetary ascension is not a prophecy waiting for a distant future. It is unfolding now in conversations, in choices, in awareness that spreads faster than any structure can contain. The moment someone awakens, it becomes nearly impossible for them to return fully to the old ways. And so the revolution grows not through battle, but through awakening itself. This is why the date of October 5th matters not as superstition, but as marker. It was the stamp of timing, a signal that the collective has crossed into territory it cannot retreat from. The road ahead is not free of challenge, but it is illuminated in a way that no shadow can fully cover again. The planetary field has tasted its own awakening, and it will not forget. The more you embrace your role in this revolution, the stronger the collective grid becomes. The more you allow truth to move through your words, your actions, your intentions. The more you anchor this ascension into reality. And while it may seem that you are a single person walking through change, the truth is far greater. You are a vessel of the collective's rise. You are part of the design, and the design is unstoppable. The rise of consciousness does not come as a gentle suggestion. It arrives like a tide that refuses to recede. Once touched by it, people cannot unsee what has been revealed. Entire generations are beginning to recognize that life is not a random sequence of events, but a tapestry woven with meaning, carrying both personal and planetary purpose. The very act of awareness is revolution. October 5th acted as a catalyst, a marker of acceleration. Many will remember it not for the moon itself, but for what awakened inside them and around them. Choices made in this window ripple far beyond the individual. They weave directly into the fabric of the human field, shaping the path of entire communities, nations, and collective timelines. The message is simple yet profound. The shift has already begun and no one is outside of it. This awakening is not about perfection. It is about participation. The collective is learning to release the idea that only saints, mystics, or prophets hold the key to ascension. The truth is far more powerful. Ordinary lives lived with extraordinary awareness are the engines of transformation. Every worker, every artist, every parent, every seeker who lives in resonance with truth is anchoring the revolution. Ascension does not require escape from life. It requires embodiment within life. Those who step forward in awareness create pathways for others to follow. It is not always through words or teachings, but through frequency. A presence rooted in clarity speaks louder than 1,000 speeches. This is why each awakening matters, because each one becomes a lighthouse, a silent reminder to others that they too can rise. As the collective grid brightens, the field of possibility expands. Timelines that once seemed locked begin to shift. Futures that were considered unreachable begin to emerge. The collective is no longer bound to repeat old karmic stories in endless loops. The turning of the wheel has begun, and with it an entirely new narrative is being written in real time. Consciousness itself is stretching, expanding, calling forth dimensions of awareness that were once reserved for mystics and sages. Now this awareness spreads like wildfire. Children speak truths that elders never dared to say. Communities are awakening not by following a single leader, but by remembering their own power. The age of hierarchy is giving way to the age of shared wisdom. This is the spiritual revolution hidden within the events of this time. Of course, transitions of this magnitude do not come without turbulence. As light strengthens, shadows emerge. Old systems resist dissolution, attempting to maintain their hold through distraction or fear. Yet even this resistance is part of the transformation. The exposure of distortion is not failure. It is proof of awakening. For what once hidden silence can no longer remain in the open field of consciousness. The task of the awakened is not to fight shadow with shadow, but to stand so fully in truth that distortion crumbles by its own weight. Each time an awakened heart chooses love over fear, compassion over judgment, courage over apathy, the collective field tilts further toward ascension. It is through these choices that planetary awakening becomes irreversible. The spiritual frameworks of many traditions speak of a great turning, a passage where the collective rises from one state of being into another. That time is not a myth, nor is it distant. It is alive now, unfolding in every moment of courage, in every act of truth, in every declaration of freedom from the stories that once chained us. We are not waiting for ascension to arrive. We are the ones making it real. The importance of your role cannot be overstated. You are not a bystander watching the world change. You are the change moving through the world. The decisions you make, the energy you embody, the way you hold yourself in moments of difficulty, all of these contribute to the wider grid. This is why you were drawn to this moment, to this message. Your awakening is not only for you, it is for all. October 5th served as a reminder that collective awakening is not something to hope for. It is something already happening. The field of humanity has crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. No matter how much resistance appears, the expansion cannot be undone. The question is no longer if the ascension will happen, but how fully each soul will embody it. As this timeline unfolds, remember that every breakthrough within you echoes outward. Every shadow faced, every truth spoken, every act of courage feeds into the momentum of the collective. You are part of a revolution that is not led by armies or governments, but by consciousness itself, and consciousness cannot be contained. The rise has already begun. It is irreversible. It is unstoppable. And it is calling you to step into your role. Not tomorrow, not in some imagined future, but now. Today calls for more than observation. It calls for embodiment. The wisdom carried through ancient traditions has always pointed toward the same truth. The inner world and the outer world mirror each other. Hermetic sages spoke of correspondence, reminding us that what is shifted within echoes outward into the collective field. Every choice to walk with clarity, courage, or compassion is not private. It moves through the entire living network of humanity. Indigenous teachings remind us that power is not taken. It is given through respect for the land, the sky, and the unseen currents that bind us together. The Vedic vision speaks of Dharma, the soul's alignment with its truest path, urging each person to rise into their role without hesitation. These teachings, though spoken in different tongues, share the same heartbeat. Transformation ripples when lived with authenticity. October 5th marked not only a celestial alignment with the moon, but also a turning point where personal awakening fuses with collective momentum. To honor such a threshold is to step into daily practice, however simple. Walking with gratitude, speaking truth even when silence tempts. The call is not to withdraw, but to participate fully alive in the great turning of this era. Every offering of kindness, every moment of integrity is a seed planted into the shared field. What grows from this time will depend not on the loudest voices, but on the steady hands of those who walk with awareness. The old seers of the Vedas spoke of tapas, the fire of discipline that purifies and strengthens. It was never about harshness, but about tending a steady flame of devotion. October 5th brought a moon that whispered of release, yet also of responsibility. To honor such a time is to carry forward its imprint not in thought alone, but in how one moves tomorrow, and the next day to listen inwardly and then translate. That listening into action is the bridge between insight and embodiment. Indigenous wisdom teaches that every act is an offering to the generations that follow. A story shared, a prayer spoken, a hand extended in compassion. Each one travels further than we know. The revolution of consciousness begins in such simple gestures. What is asked now is not grand ceremony, but devotion to presence. The one who walks slowly with awareness and care is already shaping the future, and in that walk the promise of this awakening is kept alive. The closing moments of this passage are not about endings, but about openings that ask for courage. The October 5th moon event marked more than a celestial highlight. It became a mirror for those who are ready to stand fully in their awakening. While many saw beauty above, the deeper truth was written within the heart, reminding us that transformation does not wait for permission. Such nights are not accidents of light. They are invitations. Every shift felt in the collective now reaches into the personal, calling each soul to rise with a greater voice. Those who carry vision know that nothing happens in isolation. The smallest choice, the smallest act sends ripples that touch the unseen. To hear these words in this moment is proof that destiny has been guiding quietly, leading here to now. Blessings pour into the one who moves with intention. The gift of this awakening is not abstract. It is alive in your courage, your willingness to keep opening, even when the unknown stretches ahead. The more each person embraces their transformation, the more the collective path clears. So the invitation is simple yet powerful. Declare your readiness in the comments by writing, "I rise with the new light" as your power phrase. Let it be a mark of your participation in this unfolding, and do not keep it hidden. Share this message with someone you know is walking their awakening too. The journey ahead is calling louder than ever. Together, voices united will shape the dawn that follows. The future bends toward those brave enough to